So my name's Spencer Nunez, head coach at Jefferson High School. Going into my 15th year coaching, I had 9 years as an assistant at Hillsborough High School. We focus on culture and leadership. That's our main thing. Creating a family environment, holding our kids accountable, holding our coaches accountable, and holding our parents accountable. At Jefferson, we've won 2 regional championships, 2 district championships, been in the Final Four twice, and we have multiple Coach of the Year awards. For parents, coaches, and players, ScoutBall is going to provide a lot of feedback and analysis of our team. So for a freshman coming into Jefferson, we're going to have 4 years of data on him, and we can progress from there. So quarterly, we're going to have meetings with our kids, and they can take that to their parents and say, hey, look, Coach told me that I need to work in this category, I need to do these drills. So you're going to see more of a progression, more of a development plan with our younger guys, and that's going to help us not only become better players, but become a better team in the future. We use the lineup optimization, the defensive alignment, the pitch chart, and we use that because we feel like we're going to scratch out that 3 or 4 more wins through a year because of ScoutBall AI. So ScoutBall AI just gives you that edge. It gives you that opportunity to maybe be one step above your opponent, and that matters. It's the matter of it's the difference between a 1-run ball game and losing a game. If you're not looking to get 1% better every day, then you're not ever going to progress. And I think with ScoutBall, we're actually truly trying to get our kids better every day. And as a coach, I've won Coach of the Year. We've been to the Final Four. We get to the dance and then the music stops a little bit, but we're trying to get to the Final Four, and next time we'll win it. And I think ScoutBall AI is going to push us over that limit, push us over that edge to get where we want to go. So one of the coolest features of ScoutBall is the pitch chart. And with my pitching background, I'm really going to take advantage of the pitch chart. We have a bullpen session, an in-game session, and a scouting session. So with the bullpen session, that's what I teach off of. So when our guys have 25 pitch bullpens, we're going to be able to teach off of their pitch log. If they're missing arm side away, we can tell them, hey, maybe your timing's off, maybe you're flying open, and we'll be able to give that instant feedback to our players. With the in-game session, us in Tampa, we play each other a lot. We beat up on each other a lot. That's kind of like the reoccurring theme in Tampa. So we use these paper charts, and the paper charts can get, we probably have 3 or 4 binders of paper charts at Jefferson. And now we're going to have the data that we have on those paper charts all on one interface, which is going to be very helpful for our scouting purposes. So we're going to be, if we're in game and we're playing a rival of ours that we play in the playoffs, we're going to have 9 to 12 at bats. If we play them 3 or 4 times, we're going to have 9 to 12 at bats for each hitter they have. So we're going to be able to go in there, tell our pitchers that are pitching that night exactly what those hitters' tendencies are. And we're always looking for, every coach in the county, every coach in the state, every coach in the country is always looking for the edge, is always looking for the advantage against their opponent. And you're always trying to get that so that way you can go further in the playoffs and win more games. And that's what we're trying to do here at Jefferson. So when we're preparing for the playoffs, we try to get as much information as possible on the teams that we play, because the teams we play in the regionals and potentially the state Final Four, we don't see during the regular season. So we send guys out to scout those other teams during other games. We also get scouting reports from other teams. So with that in the past, I've been collecting paper charts like crazy. I got 6 paper charts on a certain team that we're playing in regionals. I have to sit at home on my laptop, go through each at bat on there. I got to print out the papers, go through each at bat, and see the hitter's tendencies that way. It takes me about 3 or 4 hours. So with ScoutBall, we don't have to do that. We put all those scouting reports into ScoutBall AI, and it produces that scouting report that we want. It's going to give us that edge towards our opponent. So another really cool feature about ScoutBall AI is the fact that we can use GameChanger and export those stats straight into ScoutBall AI. I was amazed. I was kind of, like any coach, right? We always claim we're old school, but I'll tell you what, it was the easiest transition ever. So I took my GameChanger stats, exported them into ScoutBall AI, and in 3 minutes, I was able to use the lineup optimization, defensive alignment, get player development plans for my players through the analysis that it built for my team based on those stats from the fall season. With the player development tools like the lineup optimization, you can go in there, you get your GameChanger stats, you throw them into ScoutBall, and it's going to produce this full analysis of your team. And with that, you're going to see players trending in different directions, and then you're going to be able to put together a balanced lineup using sabermetrics. You're going to be able to put together a power-based lineup, and a speed-based lineup. And what's really cool about that is me and my coaches, we spend a lot of time talking about lineups, especially when we're on a losing streak. We struggle, and we try to just find something new for our kids to produce. Well, the lineup optimization is going to help us get that conversation done quickly. So, at Jefferson, we really only focus on exit interviews. We do exit interviews at the end of spring, exit interviews at the end of the fall. But with ScoutBall AI, we're going to change that up a little bit because it has this, cool feature of it shows you where a player's trending. So if a kid's 0 for 10, it's going to obviously show that kid's ice cold. But if a kid's 8 for his last 10, it's going to trend upwards. So you're going to be able to look at that as coaches and see how your kids are trending. So we're going to end up doing quarterly, or like about every 8 games, we're going to bring kids in the office and we're going to tell them, hey, look, man, you're starting to fall off. Let's not be okay with that. We're going to try to get you back on that upswing and use that player trending as a tool for us. Exit interviews are a big part of what we do. That's the way we develop kids, not just from a baseball standpoint, but from a character standpoint. If you're not a good teammate, we're going to let you know you're not a good teammate. But the great thing about ScoutBall AI, it's going to produce you that exit interview, and then you can put it into a Word doc, and you're able to edit that within your own terms. So it's ScoutBall AI. It's not concrete, right? You can edit that. You can make it yours. It's personable. We pride ourselves on player development at Jefferson, and it's almost like a pyramid, right? You start with the players. You have to develop your players. If you're not developing your players, you're not going to win games. And then when you develop your players, the team gets better. And then when your team gets better, people start to buy in. The buy-in's there, right? So your culture, your leadership, your accountability, it's all there. Now, after that, the future's yours, right? Like you can win as much as you want. You can lean on this as much as you want. Lean on that culture. That kind of stuff is sustained success. We always talk about sustained success at Jefferson. We don't want to be good for 3 years and then be bad for 4 more. We want to be good for 7 years. We want to be competing for championships every single year we're at Jefferson. And I truly believe that ScoutBall AI gives us that edge to be able to, if I can tell my players over Christmas break how to get better versus just giving them, on the fly plans that I really didn't even think about. I mean, the kids are just going to get that much. We're always, editing our depth chart per se, and we let our kids know where they stand. And so with ScoutBall, with the defensive alignment, it provides an interactive depth chart. So we can go on an iPad. Every coach of mine has a login to ScoutBall, and you can literally mess around with the depth chart. If you truly believe that Johnny's your best third baseman, but really is in the 2 slot right now, you can just move him up, and now you have your depth chart. So your depth chart's always up to date. You don't have to type a new depth chart. You don't have to write out a new depth chart. It's right there on the iPad, and you can mess with it. It's as simple as dragging a player over and dragging a player down or up. In today's world, we don't have a lot of POs, right? We have a lot of position players that still pitch, and they kind of play both their 2 ways. So when we take our pitcher out of the game, and he might be our second best third baseman, and then our third baseman goes to pitch, we look at our depth chart just to double check ourselves. Hey, look, what's our best option at that position once this guy comes out of the game? So even pregame, we're going to look at that depth chart and say, hey, once Johnny comes off the mound, we're going to put Nick on the mound. We need to put Johnny at third base because he's our next best third baseman. So it makes your preparation before a game so much easier and cleaner. It's a very user-friendly feature on ScoutBall, and we're definitely going to utilize it. Defensive alignment's another cool feature that we're going to use at Jefferson that's part of ScoutBall AI. So when I learned about the defensive alignment tool, I had my coaches and I grade out all our players defensively. So it allows you to grade your players, their primary position, their secondary position, and then if they have a third position. So, and it's on a 1 through 10 basis. We checked the defensive alignment, and it was literally what we believe is going to be our starting 9 come February 3rd at Jefferson. So that was that's one of the features. It gives you there's 2 options. You can do a coaches only, which is what we did. You grade the players out, and then there's a blended option. That brings in the GameChanger defensive stats, and that allows you to maybe pull in some more information to make your decision better, to make your decision a little bit easier when you're putting together. The first time we did it, we did the coach only, and then I think throughout the season, once you see a kid, maybe he's made a couple errors at shortstop, maybe you want to change that grade, maybe you want to do the blended approach, so that way hey, look, man, like even though we think that guy's our shortstop, he's made 4 errors, and GameChanger is going to be able to tell us that. And so when I was talking about coaches about ScoutBall, they were asking many questions, and one of the questions was, like, who does this replace? Well, it replaces nobody. It's just an assistant coach tool that helps you, keep your plans cleaner. It helps you with player development, and it helps you, throughout the season, maybe make a move. When you log into ScoutBall, you don't have to use every feature that's there. You use what you need for your team. We're going to use the heck out of the pitch chart. We're going to use the heck out of the bullpen session. We're going to use the lineup optimization, especially when we're in a rut. If we may not think that we have the best lineup out there, why not? Why not get those GameChanger stats? Those numbers are concrete. They're not fake. They're real. That's why we have an assistant coach doing our stats, so that way we know that they're accurate. So when we do that, we're going to create the best lineup for our team to score the most runs. I think it may seem a little intimidating at first, right? It's not. It's literally a tool to develop your players and help your players get better. And not just that, it's helpful for coaches to make it a little bit easier, right? Make development easier. Instead of, losing papers and things like that, we have it all on an iPad. It's all concrete data that we can teach off of. And, why not use ScoutBall? It's not going to hurt your team by any means, right? And it's going to help your team become, just 2 or 3 wins better. 2 or 3 wins matter in high school baseball. It matters what your seed is in district tournament, it matters what your seeding is in regional tournament. So those 2 to 3 wins that ScoutBall may provide you, that could be the difference in your season. And what's really cool about that is my wife's going to be real happy, because it's not going to take me 3 or 4 hours anymore. It's going to take me about maybe 10 minutes to get that scouting report. So especially with the pricing here, there's not much more value you can get anywhere else. ScoutBall AI, it just provides us that advantage over people, and we're going to use it this year. We're really excited to use the product, and we're excited to tell people, share how this helps us win 3-4 more games during a season, and how this helps us score 1-2 more runs per game. And we're going to be able to share those stories throughout the season, and we can't wait. Yeah, so at Jefferson this year, we're really excited to use ScoutBall. I know my assistant coaches are also pumped to use it. And, I think at the end of the season, or even quarterly, we're going to look at this and be like, hey, this is what pushed us over. This is what got us to that, out of that complacency mode, out of that, hey, we're winning now, we don't need to change anything. You might need to change something even if you're winning. And if you're losing, I'll tell you, I can't wait to use this when we go on a losing streak, because I'm going to plug in that lineup optimization, and I'm going to say, hey, look, let's change this whole thing up. Because if we keep doing the same thing we're doing, we're just kind of happy with that. We're satisfied. And at Jefferson, we don't ever want to be satisfied. And I think this is going to help us, motivate us to win more games, to change a little bit more during the season, and to actually develop our players throughout the season and not just before and after the season.